Okay, let's go with that. I looked up relaxing video game music. This might be too relaxing, to be honest. I did forget briefly that I had already started the stream. Welcome, by the way. Welcome, welcome. Here we are. We're back. Doing a couple of things today. Well, mostly one thing. Yeah, I just wanted to share a few thoughts on some of the stuff that I've been watching and playing recently. I'm just gonna keep digging for useful music here. This is more acceptable. Anyway, yeah, so I have been catching up. I got Netflix back, at least temporarily, for very specific reasons. And now, given the cost, the absurd monthly cost of Netflix, I have felt compelled to watch a bunch of stuff over what it's been like 3 or 4 days so far, I think. So it hasn't been that long, but I have been watching stuff, and it's the kind of shows where I have no idea whether I would actually want to make a video about them. Shows and movies, sorry. So instead, I'm going to do it here. You know, we'll see. Maybe at some point I would like to make videos about these particular projects. But so far, just some quick thoughts to share. Run through a few different things that I've been looking at lately. So we will do that. A lot of it is Netflix stuff. And there's not a ton overall, unless there are things I'm forgetting. But yeah, what else do we have? Oh, and then as usual, we'll just, I like looking at headlines sometimes. Just to get a sense of what is actually happening. Just to kind of sort of stay in the loop in terms of specifically contemporary animation stuff. I am very much, what did I see here? Here's bad news about generative AI in the context of professional animation. I don't really want to dive into that at the moment. Here's some bad news about video game staffing and layoffs. I thought I saw something for the new Kaufman movie. Did I not? Here we go. Yeah, Orion in the Dark, which I think is out just a couple days, right? What else did I see here? We knew about Bob the Builder. We'd seen that before. What else did I see? I must be losing my mind. I don't know. Let's just go with these for now. Also, welcome. Feel free to interrupt me at any time, or offer a comment on something that we're looking at. You're also free to talk about literally anything at all, really, as long as it's YouTube appropriate, I suppose. Any questions or comments? Go for it. That's what we're here to do. Just gonna chat and hang out for a while. This, for obvious reasons, this headline caught my eye. I was unaware that this is apparently animation's most lucrative box office franchise. But here we have it. Okay, so if they're including Minions, sure. I can kind of see that. I don't know whether or not I would include the Minions, to be honest. I kind of feel like they are their own, property at this point. Also, apparently, Mike White wrote the screenplay for the new movie. Okay. I'm immediately more interested. So Mike White, they mentioned White Lotus. I think he has series creator credits, right, on White Lotus, the HBO series, which is very good, of course. But also pretty famous, I think, for writing the screenplay to School of Rock, which I also forget was a Linklater movie. So there's that. He also appeared on a season of Survivor. He didn't win, but I think he made it kind of far. Anyway, yeah, very, very strange, interesting person, based on what I know. And yeah, taking on I don't know, it's one of those, I have to assume this is a pretty limited kind of look. Like, there are only so many people in any given industry that can pull off a look like this, right? Where Mike White is, on the one hand, he's been very active in, like, not necessarily independent, but more independent styled movies, lower budget projects, stuff that feel like they have a strong connection to just, a particular vision, a particular idea for a movie that wasn't coming through the studios at all. He does that, but at the same time, uh, at the same time, he shows up on Survivor. At the same time, he takes massive, not necessarily artistically driven Hollywood projects like Despicable Me 4, and I'm sure plenty of others. I just don't. It's the best possible place to be in, right? As an entertainment industry professional. But I just have to assume that not many people can walk that line. I also feel like he's just not. When I say not famous enough, I mean for like the general public, right? He's not famous enough to the point where people are going to be hounding his career and criticizing specific projects, as people tend to do with certain directors or actors, right? Anyway, little tangent there. That's the most interesting thing I've gotten from this one. But let's go ahead and read the synopsis. Gru and Lucy and their girls, M-, Margot, Edith, and Agnes, just in case, because nobody knows. Nobody cares about them. Welcome a new member to the Gru family. Gru Jr. That's not, I don't like saying that out loud. Gru Jr., who is intent on tormenting his dad. Gru faces a new nemesis in Maxime Lamarre and his femme fatale girlfriend, Valentina, and the family is forced to go on the run. Okay. All right. Okay. All right. I'm done. I'm done talking about it. I guess it is sort of interesting to learn that it's the most profitable, most lucrative box office franchise, animated box office franchise. Whatever. Fine. Okay. It seems like a technicality, but let's just move on. That's okay. Yeah, so Orion in the Dark. I had only learned about this movie a couple or a few weeks ago, when it came up on a list of stuff for 2024. And yeah, it's a screenplay from Charlie Kaufman, who has his own little, I wouldn't call it a cult following. He's too big of a name at this point, but he used to be a somewhat obscure screenwriter, which is to say a screenwriter, I guess. But then really took on his own sense of celebrity when people looking for weirder stuff, specifically people who look like me looking for weirder stuff, came across some of his early work with Spike Jonze. And then, of course, Kaufman then went on to direct a couple of movies. He directed Synecdoche, New York, and he directed I'm Thinking of Ending Things. I think that was only the second movie he directed from a couple years ago. Anyway. So it's again a versatile career, and choosing to work on what it seems by all counts to be just like a children's family animation feature is a bit odd, and we do have to wonder how it's all going to shake out. But we don't have long to wait, not at all. Just a couple days at the time of talking, anyway. And I guess we're just looking at concept art here. As far as I can tell, this is concept art. And it's not how the movie will look. Maybe not. It could be a cell look CG kind of thing too, where they're really going for this painted work. But honestly, I haven't even watched the. I don't think I even watched the trailer for this movie. I don't have too much. Yeah, I would. Yeah, right. Okay. Would kind of prefer if it looked like this, This is a more technical article, so I'm not going to walk through the whole thing right now. Just speaking about the lighting, which is interesting, but overall, just wanted to nod, just wanted to nod in the direction of this movie before it releases, because who knows, it might be something I would like to talk about on the channel in an actual video instead of just a stream. So that's that for now. Orion in the Dark in a couple days, and I think it's Netflix. I think it's a Netflix original, so hooray! I get to watch that. Anything else here? So sorry to hear about John Bush. Sad news. A lot of sad news, huh? These days. Pharrell Williams is getting an animated Lego biopic. It's apparently biopic. I don't know if I agree with that, but that's apparently what it is. Apparently Focus Features still exists, which is also news to me. And okay, I just need a little bit. I don't need a lot more information, but just a little bit more information. Right, yeah, okay. Remember 20 Feet from Stardom? Anything else? Pharrell Williams approached me with the idea of helping him tell his story through Lego animation. So let me go ahead and attempt to translate that in terms of how these conversations tend to play out. Someone representing Mr. Williams, maybe agent, maybe manager, was playing golf. I don't think they play golf too much, the Hollywood types, but just a guess. Was having lunch with someone who knows someone who, you know, is in touch with Morgan Neville. I said, hey, do you have anything? Hey, we have this weird sort of, I don't know. Pharrell, you know, we're such good friends. We were out deep sea fishing the other day, and we had this crazy idea. There may have been substances involved. I'm not at liberty to say. And he's really into Legos, but just specifically the Lego movie was so cool. Who could we get to do that? Sure. How about a documentary filmmaker who hasn't quite been in the limelight for a number of years? This sounds very mean. I'm not trying to be mean. I don't know. I don't know if I believe that it was this incredibly natural, organic path to getting this into development. But yeah, very strange. I also, like, to be honest, I have mixed feelings about Pharrell's career, I guess. Just based on my own incredibly subjective viewpoint here. I don't know. More stop motion horror stuff going just to Shudder. Honestly, I kind of thought Shudder would have shuttered its doors. I guess shutters are on Windows. I'll come up with something later. Shudder still exists, and yeah, after Mad God, I guess they see the appeal of not specializing necessarily, but being a welcoming platform for kind of weirdo stop motion animation stuff. Which is funny because that was basically the premise of last week's stream. So odd, odd and predictable at the same time. Anything else here? It seems like a light week, to be honest. Seems pretty yeah, I'm done with this stuff. That's fine. We can move on. Cool. All right. 15 minutes. This is a good pace. I should try to hit this pace in the future. So, we are Hold on. I do want to look at this briefly. Just a list. I just want to see the list part of this. The most streamed films last year were all animated. There you go. Moana and Encanto. I had a guess. I had a guess right out of the gate that we were going to be seeing a lot of stuff that kids would tend to watch. And as we all know, I think even us, you know, anyone old enough to be a part of that VHS, VCR era, of home video, it was the most common thing in the world to just, you just watch the same movie over and over and over again. There might be a rotation, but generally there are a handful of movies that you just want to keep watching. Not that it has necessarily changed in adulthood, but I do think that it is a unique strength of children's viewing habits, that they have tons of free time and an extreme aversion to new stuff. So Moana certainly, and Encanto and Kanto, I've never quite figured out how I was supposed to be pronouncing that. And Frozen, these are all the same camp. These are all the same niche within Disney, current day Disney, for sure, in terms of vibe. And I've certainly known, people who are just like, oh yeah, my kids they just don't stop. They never stop watching Moana. It's just Moana at all times. That's it. That's what they want to watch. End of story. Super Mario Brothers movie. I'm going to say children viewers. Just a guess. That's a personal take. Elemental, a little bit surprising. Happy for it though, especially since that whole movie's release, both in the theaters and on streaming, was basically a comeback story. Such low expectations at first, but clearly people have connected with it. Minions, sure. Okay, Sing 2. I watched that movie at some point. I still don't remember why. I guess curiosity. It's a particular kind of mood, when you want to see Sing 2 on your own, on probably a Thursday afternoon. Frozen is still here. Okay, not Frozen 2. You'll notice. Black Panther: Wakanda Forever is an animated movie? When did this happen? Did I see that movie? Avatar: The Way of Water. Okay, hang on now. No. I'm sorry. They just said the top 7 were animated. I apologize. Silly me. This is a top 10. So this is the cutoff. Frozen is the bottom slot here. Okay. All right. And shows too. Okay. Why not? Not seeing tons of animation here. Yeah. Okay. All right. I'm kind of surprised that Ted Lasso has been that big of a hit. That is genuinely surprising. Okay, we're done with that. There you go. There's some news. We're moving on. Okay, so here's the deal. Just watched a handful of things, but because most of them are relatively recent releases, or yeah, most of them are fairly recent releases, I think. Just wanted to chat about them a little bit, and in particular, they're not all animated, but this one certainly is. We have Pokemon Concierge. Don't be fooled by this. I'm just TV shows that are especially streaming exclusive shows. You're not, it's not the same pool of critics who handle the Oscar bait stuff. It's usually a very small group of people reviewing online. I don't believe it. Now, okay. Pokemon Concierge, I guess we should get some images up here, get the vibe of it. I really doubt that I could show any footage on the stream without getting yelled at by the bots. But yes, as you can see, it is a stop motion Pokemon shorts series. Yeah, every episode I think is 15 minutes. And there aren't that maybe 4 or 5 episodes total to my memory. And full disclosure, I guess, I have not watched all of the episodes yet. I gave it a good shot. Well, let's not. I don't want to get ahead of myself too much here. It's a resort. Somewhere in Pokemon Land, there is just like a tropical resort, and it's for people. But also, the introduction is very funny to me. So I guess the lady who runs it, she's also just a massage therapist. She's explaining, to her new hire. We have our fish out of water character Haru, which is also the name of the lead character in The Cat Returns, right? Which is a stealth sequel to Whisper of the Heart. How crazy is that? Haru shows up. This woman who maybe runs the place or maybe just works there is like, hey, this is a resort where people hang out. It's also a resort where Pokemon hang out. I don't know if people are paying to have their Pokemon go there. I don't know if they go there with their Pokemon. I don't know. And then she's also like, also, there are just some wild Pokemon, like, around, you know, like stray dogs or something. They just show up and we're cool with it. And it's all fine. And you just need to make sure that everybody has a good time, right? So conceptually, it's very thin. It's thin, but also cohesive. I guess it just, you know, this is it. It's just a Pokemon resort. Don't worry about the reasoning. Don't come here looking for story, though the show does still attempt to have story, which I think might be a mistake. Just Pokemon hanging out. And we made cute little models of them with felt and other materials. And here they are. Watch what happens as Haru tries to, adapt to the situation, which is, it's the absence of conflict. That's the whole thing, is her character is very wound up really tight. Probably works a little bit too hard and is having a hard time transitioning to just relaxing and I guess taking better care of herself. Although, like, this is a job, so it's why wouldn't everybody want to work here, right? Everybody should. This should be the best job ever, where you don't really have many responsibilities, and I guess your job is also to be on vacation yourself. But again, you're not supposed to be thinking about any of that. And I thought it was funny. Just right before the stream started, I pulled up a couple. Look at these headlines. Look at these basically marketing headlines. Pokemon Concierge is a dream come true for cozy gamers. We don't need any more of that. Pokemon Concierge is a beautiful reminder to take some time off. Okay, I'm not, okay, I guess I support the idea. I think there's more to look at than that. And Pokemon Concierge viewers only have one problem with the new Netflix show, M-. They want more episodes. What are their sources here? Is it going to be a couple tweets? Yeah. Oh, hang on. Hi, Flipnotsu. Welcome back. You say I don't get it. Don't get the show? Or am I blathering about the show? Let me know. I'll do my best to remedy that. Hang on. This is a wonderful quote. And by the way, I do dislike, articles that are just, we looked at some tweets and drew conclusions based on those. As a casual fan, Pokemon Concierge is exactly what I want when I say I want series to be more mature. Don't need gritty dark version, but there's so much series can focus on beyond Badge's battles. Give me a Western or romance or whatever. Just give fun new ways to experience series. Okay, so this person was having some issues with articles. But that's okay. It's fine. Maybe English isn't their first language, or, maybe they're just all down for internet speak. It's okay. It does make it a little confusing, though. Only one criticism unites fans. It's not a good article. But do I agree? So for on a practical level, it's stop motion. We know. This is the one thing everyone knows about stop motion. It takes an incredibly long amount of time. It takes a huge amount of work. I actually saw a little behind the scenes thing for this series before watching the show and enjoyed it. I forget the name of the Japanese studio handling animation here. But it's fun. It's fun. I do love how the Pokemon designs themselves have turned out. I do not like how the human characters look, unfortunately. Also, if the show did not involve any humans whatsoever, I think I would be okay with that. Remember the one episode from The Island of Giant Pokemon, is that what it's called in Indigo League? That was great. It's just Pokemon talking to each other with subtitles, and it works just fine. I see no reason why we needed our fish out of water character. Oh, look at that. Fish out of water character. Uh, and unfortunately, I do think because it's stop motion and because of the character designs, the human characters kind of creep me out, despite the fact that zero parts of no part of this show is supposed to be creepy or weird. It's just supposed to be cozy vibes the whole way through. And I don't think that that's not how I experienced it, at least so far. Is there anything more to say here? Flip notes, dude. I don't know if I cleared anything up for you, but I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just not into it. I also think, specifically in the first episode, there were a few times where I just thought that the localization, that the translation to English was bad. Just bad. Not like I would have maybe approached this differently, just kind of bad. Strange. You would assume this received plenty of funding on all fronts. And they have some great voice actors too. I'm sorry, I'm blanking on her name. But the English dub actor for Haru is the same voice actor who plays Kipo in Kipo and the Age of Wonder Beast. That's the full title, right? She also plays, is it Glimmer in the She-Ra show? That was excellent. I love that show. And other voice actors who are probably good, whose names I can't remember. But I don't know. It doesn't come together for me, and it absolutely does not feel mature. I have no idea. Like, it's sorry, just bringing up Pokemon, it really sets me off. I'll try to keep the rest of this very short. Okay. Pokemon at the management level, at the level of decision making, has absolutely no idea who its audience is. It fundamentally doesn't know who's buying this stuff. It doesn't know who's tweeting about its shows and its games and its card packs. So it's very strange in Concierge 2 the way that manifests, because we have a lead character who is like, I guess, early 20s, mid 20s. It's kind of hard to tell age from an object, but a young adult nonetheless, right? Usually your protagonist is also the target audience in almost every case, but at the same time, the stories, like just what happens in any given episode, is so simple and is so basic that you would assume it is a children's show. So in concept, it feels like something for young adults, but in execution, it feels like something for very small children. We're talking like a preschool animation show. I don't know. I just don't know. Whoever's running the show, meaning whoever's running all of Pokemon, and at the same time, the results are, identical to the reception of just about every new Pokemon product over the last 10 years. It performs incredibly well. It makes plenty of money. It is successful by whatever metric you want to choose. So it's kind of pointless for me to voice criticisms of it at all, really. But yeah, so far really hasn't been for me, and I don't feel motivated to go back to it. I don't know. If it actually wanted to be a show evoking a sense of, I don't work so hard, relax, just hang out in this space, I think that could have been done so much better. I don't know. I don't know. Let's step away from that. And to close out, I want to describe each show or media product's closest food. What food is closest to the thing in question? So for Pokemon Concierge, I think its closest food is a microwave hamburger. You see it on the shelf, in the freezer aisle, and on the box it looks decent. It doesn't look fantastic, but at least on the box you're thinking, oh, okay, I'm going to get an actual hamburger out of this terrible experience. But of course, upon opening it up, upon throwing it in the microwave and waiting your 2.5 minutes, it comes out as just something almost inexplicable. That's Pokemon Concierge. Flipnote Suit says, I don't like Pokemon TV shows. Fair enough. I like the games more. Also fair enough. And something the cards. Sorry. Or the cards. Ironically, the little heart icon blocks some of the chat. Fair enough. Yeah, honestly, I don't think I've ever really connected with a Pokemon show or movie, except for some of Indigo League. And the first Pokemon movie I still think is kind of great. Maybe that's worth talking about again in a video. But no, I've even been playing many of the games recently, so it felt fitting to at least look at Pokemon Concierge. But yeah, let's move on now. What else do we have? Okay, well, our next thing isn't animated already. We are going to... Oh, sorry, I'm trying to pull it up in another tab. Don't worry, the rest of these are going to be much faster. Next up, we have a movie called Bullet Train. I guess it was a Netflix original. It's exclusively on Netflix for streaming now. It did not perform especially well in terms of reviews. I'm unsure of whether or not it was released in... No, it was released in theaters. 239 mil is not a flop necessarily, but it is certainly not great. This will be brief. I mean, for one thing, I don't talk about a lot of live-action movies here on the channel, especially not live-action action movies. But yes, Bullet Train, it's fine. It's fine. I was a bit shocked at just how much the... Google's like, you mean the trains, right? What should I say? I was shocked at how much it felt like it was trying to be a Tarantino movie in terms of character structure and dialogue. Incredibly odd. Like we're way past the point of Tarantino knockoffs. That was what, like mid to late 90s in my eyes. Very strange. Very strange to go so hard in that direction. I guess you could also say it's trying for oh no, Seven Psychopaths, Banshees of Inisherin. That guy, that Irish playwright who became a screenwriter, kind of felt like his stuff too. Incredibly quippy, fast, sort of overly clever dialogue. Just wasn't a fan. Brad Pitt is here. He doesn't necessarily always seem like the main character. And I thought it was funny. I then talked about this movie with a Japanese friend, acquaintance, someone I talked to for one of my jobs. And they were saying, well, for one thing, it just straight up doesn't feel like Japan most of the time. But I thought it was funny. They said Bullet Trains in particular never do anime collabs, which is sort of a big point of this movie, is there's an entire car that's a big anime collab thing with a mascot on it and a bunch of screens all over the place. That was funny. And they also said, just like, yeah, there's a scene with like Yakuza guys standing out on a train platform with like baseball bats and stuff and brass knuckles. Like what on earth? You can't just be that obvious about being, criminals. I don't know. I thought that was funny. But yeah, just not a great movie, to be honest. Also, Sandra Bullock she has a cameo as the strangest hair at the end of the movie as well. I don't quite get it. Okay, well, let's move on. Oh yeah, the closest food for Bullet Train, I think, is those Keebler fudge stripe cookies. So those are the round ones with the weird patterns, obviously fudge stripes. They're very thin, and they're not entirely satisfying to eat, but it's still a cookie. You know, like it's still fine. It does its job, I suppose. So that's that. Okay. Out of left field, here's the next one we got. Maybe prepping for the sequel in some sense. I also watch, this is another, it's on Netflix currently. I watched Aquaman. Again, I'll keep this very brief. 66% on Rotten Tomatoes. Okay, so just a funny little observation that hopefully doesn't come across as too mean. Obviously, there's a lot of press about the sequel for this sequel to this movie that came out last year, I believe, and I heard nothing about it, so I'm just going to assume it didn't do especially well. When this movie first came out, and I was watching reviews, from a particular popular YouTube channel. That's all they do. It's a movie review channel. They're very famous in that area, at least online. And they're making comments, and at least for me, when I'm watching a review of a thing that I haven't experienced for myself, I don't know. It's a vastly different impression of all the comments being made. And in particular, these reviewers were saying things about how, like, oh, I don't think the two leads, Momoa and Amber Heard, they don't really have much chemistry, but I guess they're supposed to. Or like, here are thoughts on how the action scenes are executed, blah, 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 and here's how goofy the story is. At the time, I remember thinking, oh, okay, those must be pretty insightful points. You know, they were able to pick up on all of these things and critique them very intelligently. And while watching the movie myself, I was shocked by just how obvious that stuff is. Like, any given scene, it is very obvious that it's just not working. It is not, I don't think it takes any amount of insight to see that, just like, oh my gosh, the dialogue is kind of trying to do the Marvel stuff, which even for the time was starting to feel outdated. And the execution is also bad, so that's a double-decker in itself. The action is try-hardy in how most of it is executed, how it's staged, camera movements, all that stuff. It is action, so like, yes, action happens if that's enough, you know, to keep people interested. That's fair. But the style of execution for me makes it immediately less fun. Makes me kind of feel bad for the movie overall. And yeah, I don't know. I just I almost never really bought Aquaman as a superhero in the first place. Like, he's a guy. He's a guy. I thought it was funny. The big opening action sequence after the prologue is like pirates, because they're like, well, what crime happens on the ocean? Like, pirates still kind of exist. We'll just do pirates, I guess. It just it's a car, you know, that's in the process of breaking down. So also way too long. I didn't like it at all. I don't know if that really needs to be said in so many words. But yeah, I felt compelled. I felt like I had to, because I had the impression upon release that people liked this one and that it did pretty well. I don't know about that. Not sure about that. And again, the sequel, where did it go? What happened? Did anyone care? Sorry. So there we go. You know, I'm not exactly known for talking about superhero movies, but there's that. The closest food to Aquaman, in my opinion, was, what did I have? Okay, so like if McDonald's did like a collab with Metallica, does that make sense? You know, they see the K-pop bands doing things with fast food chains. Like, oh, we could work, you know, we could get something like that done. It wouldn't be with McDonald's, I guess. So it might be Carl's Jr. I could see doing a Metallica collab. it just, yeah, it's trend chasey. Um, it's certainly not nutritious or satisfying. Just is what it is, and it will be forgotten about, soon enough. Okay, back to animation. Let me get this pulled up real quick. This is another one. This is not a newer release at all. In fact, this is quite an old movie at this point, which is a bit scary. Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. 2013. My goodness, that is a long time ago. Wow. Well, surprise, surprise, I had never actually seen this movie. Don't know why. I continue to love that first movie. It was such a an incredible surprise, and on top of that, it was absolutely one of the movies that got Lord and Miller closer to where they are today, right? This was pre-Lego Movie. Sorry, the first one was. And I don't know, that movie just worked in so many ways, and particularly after watching the sequel, the pacing of that first movie is fantastic. You just don't generally feel bored, despite the fact that a lot of the environments are really ugly. The NPCs, the background characters generally look awful, even for the time. But it was still funny. It was a great script. Obviously, great performances from the leads. It's just a fun time. It's a fantastic romp. And I feel like I'd started up the sequel a number of different times, and it just was, got distracted. Felt like doing something else. I had never actually managed to finish the movie. I did finish it this time. I guess it was yesterday. 71% on Rotten Tomatoes is a little bit surprising to me. In terms of the animation style and extending the art direction, fine. I don't feel like I have any big issues there. Premise even is kind of neat. Just like, oh, it's a wild frontier of fruit creatures because you've just absolutely destroyed this island, right? Is it the island of Swallow Falls, or is it the town on the island? It's underneath the A in Atlantic, right? Anyway, and cute character designs too. I love the pickle people. Obviously, there's the cutesy sort of merchandisable Strawberry who hangs out with our leads for much of the movie. Kristen Schaal is in this movie. She's one of the big additions for the cast, and is very fun. I mean, as always, is very fun, is very funny. It works. But yes, it is ultimately a movie about a fictional / evil tech CEO, founder, hero worship kind of figure, whose name I've already forgotten. Either way, and his head is shaped like a light bulb. So yeah, no, I don't like this movie really at all. It's just not for me, and it's just so clear that it's lacking this spark. I know it's it's bad form to rely on, like, I don't know, mystified abstract elements of what makes a project good. But yeah, people like to say creative spark, lightning in a bottle, etc., etc. Just so many elements come together and actually work in that first movie, and they're sort of present, but they never congeal. they never build something more interesting. There's no gestalt. Sorry for the pronunciation. $50 for what? A Blu-ray? Gosh. Anyway, yeah, it's just not good, and probably I guess the worst aspect of the movie by far has nothing to do with the visuals or the animation, or even the screenplay. It's just the music, the licensed music specifically. Whatever, the score is fine. I guess it's what you would expect. But no, the the licensed music multiple times. There's a sequence that's supposed to be inspirational, that's coming out of the pit, right? Heading up to the climax. It's supposed to be really energizing. and it is the worst whoa 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 pseudo pop folk that 2013 could possibly deliver, and they come right back to that vibe for the credit song, and it was just like upsettingly poor to me. Like it was distractingly bad. And I'm willing to be that mean because again, it has nothing to do. It has nothing to do with, you know, the art teams, the animation teams, whoever was in charge of music supervision just completely dropped it. And is there licensed music in the first movie? There might be 1 or 2 tracks, but mostly it feels like its own thing. And this, I numerous times was actively distracted by the licensed music choices and just hated them. So that didn't help, but I mean, hey, at the same time they were being laid underneath like ultimately kind of corny and not very interesting plot points. And going back to the pacing for just a second, not good. Very descriptive. It's not good pacing. I don't know. It's a very intuitive thing, right? In one movie, I don't feel bored, and in this movie, I feel bored often. And I'm just wondering, like, not only am I wondering, you know, when they're going to get on with the main story, but beyond that, I'm not interested in the next place that the story will go to. It remains uninteresting to me. We'll stop there. What does this say? You get a Target Cafe combo pack. So what, did Target have movie theater concessions for a while? Betsy Sharkey of the LA Times said that this is delicious family fun. Wow. And includes 4 mini movies. I would kind of like to see those. Okay, but yeah, that's Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2. Not a new release by any stretch, but I do want to comment on it. And again, it's not the kind of thing where I would make a video. Just no, there's no point. The closest food to Cloudy with a Chance of Meatballs 2 is those overly large chocolate-covered strawberries that also have like drizzles and a bunch of sprinkles on them. You know what I mean? Because in theory, yes, right? In theory, chocolate-covered strawberry, especially a really big, sumptuous strawberry, it seems like a great idea. It seems like something you want to enjoy. It's gonna be great, especially in the middle of a party, maybe a school party, maybe a work gathering kind of thing. Just seems great, and whoever brought those is beyond scrutiny, right? You're not gonna get mad at anybody for bringing chocolate-covered strawberries that also have drizzles and sprinkles on top, unless they bought them. No, even if they bought them, if they're homemade, you're even more. You're even happier about the situation. Unfortunately, when you start eating the chocolate-covered strawberries with drizzles and also sprinkles on top, it's too much. It's too much all around. For one thing, it's way too sweet. Fruit already has a bunch of sugar in it naturally, well, relative to vegetables, I guess, and other natural foods. Then you have to get through the chocolate. I would even say, you know, compare it to candied apples, right? In a certain sense, where they look great, but so sweet and so viscerally painful to eat with your teeth that it stops being fun almost immediately. And then, because this is an overly large strawberry, it's just too much. You know, you're not trying to, but the juice really starts squirting. The strawberry juice is all over your outfit, and that's an issue. You're miles from home. What are you going to do? You can't just say you're going to the bathroom and, you know, in and out in 5 minutes. It's not going to happen, right? This is the outfit you're stuck with for the rest of the day. You know that people are going to go out and get drinks afterwards. It's just not way you would really expect it to be. The reality is starkly different. And then the sprinkles, just, you know, a hat on a hat, right? Love that phrase. Heard it again recently. I was like, that is a useful phrase. It's just too much. It's just too much. It's certainly not good for you, despite the fact that it's masquerading as this really beautiful little snack. It's not. And yeah, the end result is just not what you would really want. Okay. Very long food explanation. Okay. Well, you know what? Not too much more. I do have a couple of games to talk about. I know. It's rare that we get into any kind of gaming talk, but there were a couple of things that I wanted to chat about today because I've literally been playing them just over the last, I don't know, 5 or 6 days or so. So let me get them pulled up here. Okay. All right. Ready for some dumb stuff? We got some dumb stuff. Okay, so this is a JRPG, also an ARPG, technically, called Grand Blue Fantasy Re-Link. I really thought there would be a colon between Re and Link. It is dumb. I know nothing about this series, this franchise. They're fighting games, but also RPGs, which is weird in and of itself. They put out a demo for this a while back. I played it, and I actually enjoyed it a lot, which is unexpected. And then I was thinking of buying it just straight up. I buy a handful of full-price games a year. Thought, let's go for it. Why not? This will be a great time, or at least an okay time. And try to refund it if that's not how it turns out. Then I found, by the way, this is supposed to be releasing tomorrow. Today's the 31st. Then I found if you get the digital version on PlayStation, you can just start. You can just start playing it. You can just play through the game. So that's what I did. Not something I do very often. Sorry, let's look at a handful of images here, although it's almost as generic as it could possibly come in terms of sort of medieval fantasy inspired RPG stuff out of Japan. Yeah. 17 or 18 playable characters, I think. Something like that. And then characters you can't play as. Also, one of those is a useless and incredibly dull main character they force you to play as during key sequences, which is just awful. Shocked at how much fun the combat can be when you're using any other character besides the husk of a lead that we have in this game. Apparently, Platinum Games had some kind of hand in the development here at some point. That is all I've heard. As of today, I'll have to look into that some more. But yeah, no, the combat works, and there's so much variety, too much variety, to be honest, in terms of the characters and how they play. There will probably be something for you. And I absolutely enjoy trying out new characters, which is not something I like to do in plenty of games. I just find something that works and that I understand, and I'll go with that. But no, it's kind of great. And it took me a little bit too long to realize that on top of the main story quests that you have, you can also do individual quests, side quests, basically, where you're grinding. So you can grind those as much as you want, get as many materials as you want, get as many levels as you want, whatever. So by the time you go into the main story stuff again, you can be as over-leveled as you want to be. And I love that. I do love feeling overpowered in plenty of games, and this is definitely one of them. And I don't know, there's a lot to say. I'll try to pare it down a little bit. Just one last thing that I wanted to mention specifically is this game's art direction, and however they pulled it off here, is actually stunning. Like, I feel weird saying that before the game has come out and before the reviews have been released. I'm a little bit worried that everyone on the planet will disagree with me. It looks so good. I mean, it absolutely is the game equivalent of cell look CG in animation that we've been talking about with Spider-Verse and Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and that Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie I still haven't seen. They're incorporating approaches to painted work and illustration that aren't typically seen in 3D video games. And my God, I don't know. At first, I was a little bit split. I thought maybe it's a little too dense. It's a little too busy to really enjoy. But no, that's just not the case. In certain environments, I won't get into it too deeply, and I don't know the stupid fantasy names that they give everything. Certain environments, for the first time in a long time, maybe since, I don't know, Elden Ring, obviously that game also has incredible environments, I just felt floored by looking at the stuff. I lost interest temporarily in actually playing the game. I was just like, oh, I just want to be here, and that's it. That's it. If I could live here, it'll be great. This is going to sound very stupid, but it does tie into a video that I've been working on, so why not lean into it a little bit? Spaces are now much more important to me in entertainment media than story. I am basically never interested or impressed by the story specifics or plot specifics of different pieces of media, but the spaces I get immediately. Spaces, I immediately see the appeal, and that is now what I'm seeking out in most of the stuff that I watch or play or read or whatever. And honestly, I did have a moment in one of the, I don't know, I guess I'll say mid-game environments of this one, where I became incredibly sad because I knew that none of us will ever live in this incredibly beautiful and quaint and stupid and naive fantasy world that looks this good. Like, it was a very sad moment. It's just, I'm never going to be there. This is as close as I'm getting. This is it. This is as close as I'm getting to a place where, like, the crimes are doing odd jobs for people. You know? Like, the crimes are belonging to one church instead of another church. And where just, like, friendship and kindness pervades all these spaces. It is corny. It is corny. It's simple. It's stupid. But wow, that was just the reaction. That's just how I felt when I was playing, I don't know, 7 or 8 hours worth of this yesterday. So that's what I got. The closest food to Grand Blue Fantasy Relink, I think it's the local barbecue place. Any kind of barbecue, doesn't matter. American, Korean, Japanese barbecue, I don't know. Whatever it is. It's that local barbecue place that's just nailing it. You know? Everything they have, they're good at it. There's a lot of stuff on the menu, and none of it's filler. Whatever you get, you can pick at random with your eyes closed, and it's going to be really nice by the time it actually shows up. Like, it's just great. It's not elaborate. It's not fancy. It's not innovative, you know, or any of that. It's just kind of good. Okay. And then the last one, I don't know. Is this going to be predictable? I guess I did mention some of it last week, but let's just have a quick chat. It is Palworld. I think I'm like, I don't know, 10, maybe 12 hours into Palworld on Steam. Didn't know it was on Game Pass, actually, at the time. And I still... I don't know. I don't know if I would have bought it if I knew it was on Game Pass. But I will say, no, I have been enjoying it. And that is not... That's not the cool thing to say about Palworld at the moment at all. Like, it was so quick. It was just a couple of days where games, what do we say? I don't know. Game reviewers, game outlets, channels, etc., people who talk about games for a certain amount of money turned their noses up at this one so fast. And yeah, there are controversies and potential controversies behind the game. And there are certain things in there that would be deal breakers for me that are as yet unconfirmed, I guess. Sorry, I had that in another tab. But unfortunately for me, I like playing the game. Unfortunately for me, I'm one of the popcorn munchers, I guess, who, just enjoy having fun with it. And it's another one where it is stupid. It's dumber than Grand Blue, for sure. Even just calling this like a survival crafting open world game sounds like such a turnoff. We are so far beyond the trend is long dead, really. It's running on fumes, at the very least. And I don't know. It's not the survival element that works for me necessarily, but base building and automation, both of which are pretty simplified, but still there's enough satisfying depth there for me in terms of building structures in a way that works. It has a better like base building system than like Fallout 4 for one, or 76, or any number of other indie survival games. Things tend to work despite the fact that people keep saying it's incredibly glitchy. Combat is not necessarily great, but it still kind of feels realistic to the world. I don't know. It does work. It works for me. I love building up the base. I love having a reason to build up the base because there are invasions occasionally, which something I love about Terraria, for example, although they're very simple there. And there was one really bad raid where the bad guys, I don't know if they were pals or humans coming to kill everybody and set my stuff on fire, but they killed everybody and set my stuff on fire, and it burned up and turned into dust, ash, I guess. My beautiful longhouse that I had built for all of us to stay in together and enjoy our meals. And I was just like, oh, okay, well, now I'm going on a war of attrition. Like I have this natural, emergent motivation to do the things the game wants me to do anyway. I feel motivated to build a better base, protect my group, and to just take out anybody who gets near us. And that's how it's been going. It's just fine. So yeah, I do currently love it. Who knows? Maybe that'll change. Maybe we will continue to hear just plain awful things about the people, the team behind this game. I don't know. But I do own it. There's no way I can't refund it at this point. And what I've played, I've really enjoyed. And it's absolutely one of those ones where I just want to go back. I want to hop back in. It's something I could see myself starting over from scratch, the same way as you do with Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or one of those kinds of games. I don't know. Yeah, it's and I didn't think of a food for this one yet. The stream started before I could nail down the closest food to Palworld. I guess I will say that Palworld is closest to maybe a Hershey's cookies and cream bar. Popular, you're not going to win any points for saying it's your favorite. It's not something you probably wouldn't put it on like a dating profile or a job application. It's one of those. But it works. The flavors combination, the flavor combination is really nice. Old at its core, maybe even out of date in its concept. But of course I'll pick it up. If I see it by the checkout, then I will grab it. Yeah, that's what I got. That's the end of my list. I guess it's been about an hour. Not too bad. Not too bad. And I'm proud of myself for talking this much when we haven't been saying too much, in terms of chatting stuff. But I'm okay with this. Losing my voice, but hey, we're doing it. Well, that's what I got. If anybody has anything they want to chat about real quick, or I don't know, questions about something, if you have interacted with any of the media that I've been talking about throughout the stream, go ahead and let me know. I would love to hear your thoughts. If you're watching the archive of the stream, feel free to leave a comment. I probably won't see it, but everyone else will. That's who the comments are for, is for you and your fellow viewers. It's your space, really. Yeah, perfect. Cool. Anything else? Let's see. I did for a split second. I thought about streaming either Power World or Granblue, to be honest. Decided not to for a number of reasons. Technical reasons are part of that for sure, and I just didn't have much time to set up the stream today. But yes, I do have up on the whiteboard here. I have a number of different videos that I am currently working on at one stage or another. So I do promise you that those will be out. And we'll see. I don't know. I don't think any of them need to be super deep dives, and one of them, I mean, I already got into the topic, but I do want to talk about that focus on spaces for me in contemporary media. That's just so much more interesting to me at this point. And it has really crossed over different media, stuff like that. So it's worth talking about. I'll see if I can find a way to make it appealing. Attach it to some popular franchise. That's all you got to do, right? You can't just say, hey, I have an idea, I want to talk about it. You have to say, hey, Spirited Away, ... And now the thing I want to say. Christian, welcome back. How's it going? Christian says, have you seen Zom 100? If not, does it look like something you would watch? Not so. So the answer is not really. I do have access to it. It's on Crunchyroll, which I still have, and I keep forgetting that I have it. So yeah, no, I'll say that it is something I would probably watch because I like where that show goes. When I initially I just saw like a fraction of the first episode. I don't know what pulled me away from it. It wasn't because I didn't like the show, but I don't know. I was busy, or it was on my PS5 and I wanted to do something else. I don't know. But no, it looks neat. I like the premise, and boy, like talk about if people are heralding Pokemon Concierge as like, whoa, this is breakthrough messaging in terms of take care of yourself, work less hard, which it's not, obviously. Zom 100 seems like a much better execution of that to me, sort of in a Walter Mitty kind of way, I guess. But I don't know. Yeah, it still looks exciting. It still looks like something I would watch. I just haven't. And I think a lot of times that just comes down to mood. There's my list of things, of recommendations, or just things that I've been meaning to watch. And even if I'm right on it and about to click on a particular show or a movie, if I'm not in precisely the right mood for it, I tend to leave it for another time. So that's probably what happened with Zom. I would like to. Yeah, it looks really good. Maybe sometime soon. Maybe this week. And yeah, actually, let's go out on a limb. We won't make this the whole stream next time, but I have been wanting to go back to like Animation Book Club, where we watch either a movie or some of a show, and then we can talk about it the following week. Why not? Let's do that for Zom 100. Let's just do it. It won't be the whole stream because I don't think, that's usually something to say right at the start so everybody knows for next week. We've missed that window of opportunity, but I would be happy to chat about it next Wednesday. I don't think I have anything getting in the way next Wednesday, so we'll see about that. Yeah, but I'll make it a goal to watch at least 3 episodes. 5 would be better, I think. But yeah, I'd love to check it out. Cool. Anything else you've been watching recently, Christian, or anything else you'd like to recommend? Could Nintendo successfully sue the controversial Pokemon with Comics game? This is the other thing. I mean, I certainly don't need to talk about Power World anymore. But my God, again, those the reviewing outlets and channels and stuff have been milking this one so much. Like, regardless of what their opinion is, positive, negative, whatever, that's also fatiguing me on the game. Like, just the sheer, one channel might have 5 or 6 separate videos within a week because the Power World SEO is just so hot right now. And man, does that drag down like, I don't know, I just start getting tired of the game despite the fact that I'm not even playing it. Just like, just shut up. I'm not the one talking too much about Palworld. You are. Like, you did this. Please stop. I've heard enough hot takes at this point. I got it. But then again, that's a real strength of like gaming YouTube is redundancy, you know. Okie doke. All right. Yeah, I guess I'll go ahead and start to wrap up then. Cool. Okay. Man, a lot of talking today. Cool. All right. Well, I hope this is I hope the stream is sort of interesting to watch. And again, I don't know. Plenty of things that I might have made videos about, but probably would not have actually made videos about. Also, hi Alex, how's it going? Ooh woo to you too. Oh my gosh. Too many takes, too many hot takes, and unhot takes. Oh my gosh. Also, I thought it was funny. I did see, was it here? It was over here. Apparently, official Palworld was like, hey, we haven't made any apps. If you see these are fake apps, don't go for it, which is very good advice. That's just like scams, which is terrible. That's just terrible. Oh my gosh. Well, Christian says, Christian asks, has Square Enix put out many games last year? I really can't. Oh my gosh, off the top of my head, I don't know. I can Google real quick, I guess. Games 2023. Obviously, they have a tiny little game coming out next month. Yeah, well, Final Fantasy 16. I do remember that one, honestly. I do have that game. The re-release of Ever Crisis. But I mean, I guess it's not a new game, so I don't know if you would count that. Forspoken, which was forgotten about except for, you know, by people who want to be mean to it some more. Theater Rhythm, it's a spin-off. Also, Star Ocean, the Second Story R, I think was a remake, right, of the second Star Ocean game, which I heard very good things about, but it's definitely not, it's not my kind of thing. Also, Octopath 2 was last year, but that's definitely another one that just faded, I think. I didn't really hear anything about that after release, so I don't know. But yeah, Square, they definitely do some shady stuff too, so. And Dragon Quest Monsters, which here on the Google results doesn't even have its own icon. It's just like it's a screenshot of the Switch HUD, like the Switch home screen. That's very odd. So yeah, to answer your question, not a lot of stuff that had a big impact, I think, or a lot of staying power, which is very important, you know, in the modern landscape, right, of gaming. It's got to stick, or it will indeed be left behind, forgotten about, etc. Yeah, but yeah, no, I guess it was earlier today too. I don't pre-order. I don't recommend pre-ordering stuff, but I did pre-order a copy of FF7 Remake Part 2. So we'll see. I hope that shows up on the day of release, but probably not. But yeah, in the meantime, yeah, I'll probably go back to Granblue if I can do some exercise here, and still have some kind of energy after that. I would love to go back to Granblue. It's a fun game. I don't know. Ooh, yeah, it's pretty fun. Okay, I think I'll leave it there. Actually, now we're getting close to my usual length of stream, I feel like. Goose says, when I first saw Palworld, I was confused because of Electivire with a machine gun. Yeah, like, yeah, this one, I still don't know this one's name, but yeah, like a minigun kind of thing. This has become the image in all the thumbnails and stuff, of course. But yeah, like, and there are tons, I mean, gosh, there are tons of pals, I mean, Pokemon, I mean, pals, who just you see the exact parallel, you know, like you know exactly which Pokemon it's based off of. Um, the gear, the PAL gear, by the way, and by the way, hey, if you have Game Pass, it's safe to try it. You know, you don't have to spend any extra money on it to try it out that way. You can get PAL gear to use certain PALs as like gliders. You can ride on them like mounts, and some will just be like your combat buddies, you know, and do what you do. That stuff's pretty great. It's also funny because like there isn't just one rideable Pokemon. I mean PAL. I mean Pokemon. There's a bunch, and some of them are really slow, and some of them are, I don't know, slow but intimidating. They can knock guys out of the way. There's variety even in that stuff, you know, so it feels like there's room for personalization. And maybe that's the other big aspect here. A million years ago, I made a video about a game called Littlewood, and I was getting into life sim stuff, farm sim stuff, and my breakdown of why that stuff is so effective, especially for me, is the sense of ownership, right? Despite the fact that there are millions of other players probably doing very similar things to what you're doing, it's all going to be slightly different. You know, you're making your own choices. You build out what you want your part of this world to be, and there's natural personalization to all of that. Even just the Pokemon guys that you collect here, that's up to you. You know, which guys do you actually want to use? Who's in your squad? Who's going out into the wilds and taking guys out, right? Versus who's staying at home and helping you out with your cooking and hanging out in the little sauna hot tubs that you make for them. I don't know. So yeah, customizability, personalization of gear and base building. It's genuinely fun. I just really like that kind of stuff. So I'm desperately hoping that the game doesn't get like removed from all storefronts. Like I paid the money. I need to be able to have access to this forever. Anyway. Okay. We good? Anyone else wanna chat real quick? Wow, I'm tired. I've been doing that fun thing where I try to go to sleep, you know, at a good time, and then I can't sleep for 2 or 3 hours. So I said, okay, well, instead I'll stay up for a little bit and I'll do other stuff until I really have to fall asleep. But then it's not enough sleep. And I feel very tired the next day, but I still can't sleep at a good time. It's been that cycle for a little while now, so it's a whole thing. Okay. Anything else? We good? Good to go. Sortie à Paris. Paris exit? Exit from Paris? Leaving Paris? Yeah. I don't like that you as a human like physically attack the Pokemon in the wild. Possibly with a pickaxe. I don't like that part of it. It feels okay when they're attacking each other, you know, but... Oh, look, they caught one of these, like, desert turtle guys. I just got to the desert recently, so... Desert's pretty harsh. I haven't found any fast travel spots out there. Alright. Okay, folks. I'm gonna stop it there. I'm gonna call it quits for today. Yeah, more videos coming up, and yeah, next week, hey, if you can watch a few episodes of Zom 100 and we can chat about it, I think that would be a lot of fun. Let's at least try for that for next Wednesday. Yeah. Until then, I hope you have a great week, a very nice and relaxing weekend. It's a good time of year, I think, to be lazy. Yeah. So you should. That's what Pokemon Concierge taught us, right? Cool. All right. That's all for now. Thanks for stopping by.